What's up? Hey guys, what up? Total Control 871. Um, Going over my notes here. Just wanted to chime in. On the last day of May, unfortunately, the fake pandemic has completely bulldozered any form of coverage for the month of May. Month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Um, Also, what you may have forgotten, uh, May is also ALS Awareness Month. ALS is it's a I care deeply for the ALS community, and I definitely want to see a cure found for them very much. No, there's nobody close to me that has ALS, thank God. Doesn't have to be. Um, hey, it's a world full of illnesses and ailments. People pick one and run with it. So yes, the ALS. So, well, I guess maybe because I gravitate toward it is because it is believed that the ALS tends to strike people who are physically active. A lot of former athletes or people who are just simply into sports, athleticism, things that it tends to strike them. Anywho, talking today about mental health. Let me get my glasses on here. So, what do we got? I won't keep you too long. I guess I might go over the biggest doozy of them all. I got some notes here in regards to what are the biggest precipitators of uh, mental trauma, mental illness. The two are definitely two different things. Mental illness tends to be a little bit more on the idiopathic side. People can't exactly specify exactly what it is that has happened that caused them to become mentally ill. I do have thoughts on the matter. Um, Usually, if you do launch an actual medical investigation, a psychoanalysis, in that particular case, a psychoanalysis, you would probably find the root causes of of a lot of the mental illness. For a lot of people, they're see, I don't know which one comes in first. Love life and parentage. You know, their parents. It's like neck and neck. If you were to break into, you know, psychologist files across the nation, 90% of their clientele are on the couch, basically complaining and talking about love life or their parents, something that happened in their childhood that has continued to persist into adulthood. Um, Love life, and I have put together some maybe some advice, if that's what I want to call it. Love advice from me, of all people. Let me see, move that right to there. All right, I think I feel a sneeze coming on. My windows are open, and summer's here, man. And you guys have been indoors for what, 3 months? You know, go outside, let the fresh air knock the stink off of you. All right, but this is not a COVID episode for sure, for sure. But just remember, our Bakersfield doctors did say your immune system's going to be pretty weak now. It hasn't interacted with other humans for like 3 months or longer. I hope you're okay. Um, Love life. It is interesting. I do smile and laugh now. So what I'm about to say to whomever out there that is going through a white-knuckled experience, um just know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. God knows when I was going through my ordeal, I did not feel that way at all. Um, in my particular case, without going into a big, long, sad story, in love with a man that was not in love with me. From what I understand, when I became a bit more active in the gay community, they say it's a fairly common thing. That matter of fact, they say it's almost like a rite of passage. This happened like, good Lord, 20 years ago when I was much younger. They say it's like a rite of passage that eventually every little gay boy is gonna fall in love with a straight boy, and and unfortunately, I was no exception. So, one of the things that I did learn from a situation like that is, be true to your real self. This is a little bit different than to thine own self be true. Um, Not just simply, gay guys. This is something that a lot of people do, regardless of, male, female, straight, gay, whatever. They will see somebody. They will want to become involved in that person's life. And what they'll do is they will just cobble together an edited version of themselves. I see a lot of women actually do that, if I'm really being honest. To get close to the guy, they want to be the perfect girl for them, and they weren't exactly the most true to themselves. And what happens quite a bit is that, wow, this is a really great color. It's like the sunlight was like washing me out. This is a lot better now. What I've seen a lot of women do is that um, eventually, God, I'm going to use a Star Trek analogy. I'm sorry. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Odo. Odo can only hold his form but for so long. This is very much indeed true with a lot of these women and men. You can only hold this facsimile of yourself for so long. Eventually, you're going to have to revert to your natural state of being. And if you have managed to trigger a relationship with these people, um, you could be X amount of months, in some cases, X amount of years into a relationship with these people. God forbid you ended up getting married and you've been holding this version, this facsimile of your true self, and it begins to take a toll. You're very dire to get back to being your regular self. And you've probably seen that the person that you thought you were so wonderfully in love with, in other words, it's like, wow, all this effort and energy to be this person, to make him happy. When I got to know him deeper and deeper, it turns out he's not really worth the effort. The guy wasn't really worth the effort, and yet here you are. And a lot of mental strife and mental depression in regards to love life will begin to accrue. You begin to feel anxiety, depression. You think it's for reasons that you don't quite understand, but upon closer analysis, you weren't being true to yourself. Your relationship, and then the person that you're in the relationship with, here comes the sneeze. There we go. The person that you're in the relationship with, you, you know, you're in it. God forbid if you're married, is there a child involved now? So you feel trapped and you feel a lot of things. So this can be avoided by just simply being who you actually are from the very beginning. The person you're interested in will appreciate this. You will appreciate it. You'll thank yourself later for it. Social life, people that you're friends with. It's kind of a same thing with the whole love life. You you want to emulate your friends, friends that might live a certain lifestyle, uh, into certain things. You yourself might not necessarily be into it. Social life. Do you know? I think I've spoken about this before. Um, because I know, I think, was it Lokestar, inquiring, friendship, and then I've spoken a little bit about friendship. I've never had a circle of friends. In my childhood, I've had a collection of friends whom I would go over to their house and play with individually one on one. For strange reasons to this day, I still don't understand. It was never a circle of friends. I couldn't say, I couldn't go over to their house and be like, wow, great. Hey, do you know who we should go get? Let's go knock on such and such door. Kind of like South Park, the four boys. There was never anything like that. Um, I don't exactly know why. They weren't dramatically different. I don't know why, but whatever the case may be, just try to be true to yourself there in your social life, and pick friends, social life friends. Right underneath social life and friends is money. I got money written down. um, I tell you, where is? Oh, that's what fell. If you heard something fall a moment ago, it was me blinking wallet, mate. My blinking wallet. Um, this is really strange. Let's see here. Um, so I said a little while ago that I recently accepted my bank's credit card. Um, Friends, money. I'm at 13 minutes already. I'm telling you, man, do I want to save that for a whole thing in and of itself? I don't know, but it did. It's stressed friendship. Stressed friendship. Friends, money, being true to yourself. I don't know. Maybe I will get into this and tell this story. Because I'm almost certain that my Republican buddy, he does watch. He does watch. I'm pretty certain he does. And we've never spoken about this, so what I'm about to say could very well indeed be the very first time that he understood or got you know, um, I'll see if I can make it super hyper condensed though, so we can move on to our last couple of topics. I had suspicions that my not being able to afford, because I live my life a certain way. Both he and Republican wife always tried to help me with like a savings plan or different this. Like when I would, because I mean, me and my Republican buddy, into toys, buying toys, he kind of knew that, or he felt that I shouldn't be spending the money that I was spending on toys. Definitely, Republican wife was like, this should not be happening. Um, what neither understood was that if it was just simply a matter of self control to save X amount of money to propel myself into success, then I would have done it a long time ago, long before meeting them. When I met them, I was renting a room and I had accepted my life, that this would be my life, that there is no getting, it's that this is as good as it got. It's as good as it gets. Um, Working every day, full-time job, you pay your room rental, and then the rest of your money, it's play money. You can sit there and do what I like to call starburst financing, where you save up, you live like a miser, and then boom, a burst of spending, such as what's involved with getting your apartment, security deposit, and all that stuff. But then what are you going to do to stay there? Is it sustainable? No, it's not sustainable. People just, it's amazing. Even though they themselves were paying a mortgage, people don't think just how expensive it is to live. They don't, I don't know why it's so difficult for them to understand. But they will say it in a very flippant, but not trying to be glib way, that, you should just save. I heard one person say, just eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yeah, for how long? For what, the rest of my life? That's called a prison. So I would pay my room rentals, and then I would use the remainder of my money to actually live a life, an enjoyable life. It didn't have everything that I wanted, but hey, who does? So anyway, one particular night, uh, I just flat broke, flat busted, and I had, ironically enough, I had stopped. Did I think I had just bought the bike. Well, I forget the exact where. However, I was riding. I had bought a bike and I was commuting from, because I was living with my Republican couple, commuting, renting. I had my own bedroom. I rented a bedroom from them, commuting from their home to my work. Okay, on a bicycle. Got it. Got it. However, I'm completely flat broke this particular day, and it was getting on because I did a grave shift. So, a very, very late dinner hour kind of rolled around, and Republican wife was asking him, "Do you want to order something? Order, let's order. Let's call someone. Let's order." And my Republican buddy probably understood that I didn't have any money. Now, I fully get it, and I understand that. They they might be, they're my buddy, but they're not there to provide my every need. It is true. It's not. They're not supposed to be providing food for me or nothing like that. I get it. I never expected them to. Um, However, I didn't have the money, and I think it was a point of contention. Um, Between the two of them. I don't like to speak too much about this because it's never my intention to discuss their marriage. Um, but I do believe that it was a point of contention between the two of them. Um, and he was hemming and hawing about answering whether or not he wants to order, because this is where his Italian factor comes in. He's Italian, and Italians, oh my God, when he suggested that I move in with them within a micro fraction, I can have like an hour long conversation with myself in a split second. And I knew his nature. His Italians are very family oriented, very family oriented. Um, I knew he would want to integrate me into the family unit much more so than just a room renter. But because it's a long story, I was in a nightmare fiasco where I was renting at that moment. As the old saying goes, any port in a storm. So I moved in with them. There's a whole lot more to it. Republican wife went into premature labor. Whole lot of stuff that goes along with that. But nevertheless, here we are finding ourselves, a couple years later. Um, and I myself found myself not necessarily being true to myself. I wasn't really feeling comfortable. I felt like I was always having to be a version of myself that would make them happy. And then I also kind of knew that my own hobby, collecting action figures, was quite possibly causing strife in their marriage. I did kind of speak about it, every now and then. I was like, I could just, rent a room, just let me know and I'm up out of here. Anyway, there's a whole lot more to that. But this particular night, he was gonna call, and I knew I could tell he was trying to wait for me to get on the bike and leave and go to work rather than order food, have food arrive, and they only eat because it's not their job to buy food for me. I get that. So again, just like how I could forecast, I could see that this was eventually going to be a problem. Friends and money. My economic class versus he was making almost 100,000. She had just taken a leave from her job. She was making a lot of money as well. Not quite as much as him, but they say that women don't make as much as men, and both my Republican buddy and myself, we agree she was definitely the more intelligent of the two. Yeah, she was his better half. Anyway, but the point is that so they're definitely in a vastly higher economic class than I. And I go to, what was this? I went to work, came home, and I see the empty pizza boxes where they had ordered food and whatnot. So I was like, okay, so this is becoming a problem. So I think, what was it the next night when I went to work, something or another had happened where he wanted me to go with him to a toy convention. This is getting long, I know. A toy convention, and pop in the next halls. I didn't have any money. I still didn't have any money. And I hadn't bought any toys lately, but I just simply didn't have any money. And he wanted me to go toy convention with him, where if I saw something that I wanted, he would either he'd spot me the money, stuff like that. Sounds good, but the problem is that I've tried it with him before. Going out with him to a toy convention or a flea market, and me not having any money. He's a very polarizing character where he kind of wants you to be in orbit around him. So he sets the tempo. And I remember, I think the last time that I had did that with him, where I went out with him, I had did my grave shift, and straight from grave shift we take off in the morning to go do the flea market and the toy stuff, and this was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the been out all day. Okay, remember he took off with a breakfast. I hadn't had anything to eat since, like, oh my god, it was about maybe 18 hours since I had eaten, and I had to tell him, I need to eat. can you take me through this? I think it was like a McDonald's or something really quick. He he did it begrudgingly. I could tell he was annoyed. He wasn't hungry, and if it's not happening to him, then it's not that big of a deal. And that in his mind, in some fashion, in his mind, he felt that I should just simply be able to just simply wait. I had been waiting for about 18 hours, dude. And I am hypoglycemic. And I was like feeling very jittery and shit. And then he's like also like kind of, because he's like trying to engage me in banter and conversation. And I'm not really keeping up my side of the conversation. Yeah, man, it's because my blood sugar is totally bottomed out here. I need to fucking eat. So that's why I didn't really take him up on the offer when he offered it again. It was over text message. I was at work and he texts and says, when you get off work, let's go to such and such. And I'm like, I don't really have any money. Don't worry, I got you. I got you. I was still like, no, no, thank you. No, thank you, because I can't be the pet dog that you drag around on a leash until that I'm probably using the wrong terminology. I don't think he didn't think of me as a pet dog or anything. I'm sorry, I just don't have enough time to really articulate the exactness of how it was, but it was a lack of money, and it put a great strain on our relationship. Um, there was even an incident where I think Republican wife was making dinner, and because again, that's why one of the reasons why I didn't really originally want to move in with them, because I fully understood that the nature of my life, that I quite often would go hungry. you know, it's just simply the way it is. Kind of like a college student or a starving artist. There were just periods where you just didn't eat. You know, and that was my life. I had come to accept it, but it was so foreign in concept to them that, and because of their whole Italian heritage, having somebody in their house that isn't eating when everybody else is eating, you dig what I'm saying? And and believe it or not, I am very much indeed in defense of Republican wife. When it came to this particular incident, um, she made dinner. It was something. It was a shrimp dish. I remember that, and there was a salad, and I remember she, before my Republican buddy got home, she had said to me, um, if after because she knew I wouldn't be eating with them, that after they had dinner, if there's any like salad or whatever, if there's any salad left over, I was welcome to it. Um, a little insulting. I better hurry up and finish up because this thing might shut me off. Oh my God. Um, it would have been better for her not to offer me anything at all. It's very rude to offer somebody your table scraps. Um, and my Republican buddy came home and he's like, "Yeah, come on, we're gonna have dinner, eat with us and whatnot." And Republican wife just kind of looked at me real quick, wondering if I was going to repeat to him what she had said to me. Well, I didn't then. I guess I did it now because I'm sure both of you are probably watching this. But the point that I'm trying to make in all of that is that, again, I understand neither one of these people are responsible for feeding me. I'm a grown man. Um, Although I would not have offered me table scraps. What's left over after you've eaten and whatever's left in the bowls. It's a very rude thing to do. Um, like I said, I live my life in a particular way that's foreign to these people, and but it's money, and money created a chasm uh, between them and myself, and eventually that night, as he was texting me trying to get me to go to the toy convention with him, and I told him no. The conversation devolved into an argument where he then threw me out the house there, Johnny on the spot. Um, just threw me out the house. There's a lot more that goes to that. Anyway, one of the reasons why I don't really do friends, I don't really trust them. So I hope I did my best in explaining that, because I didn't want to sit there and make them seem like these awful, awful people. They're not. They just wanted me to be a part of their family in a fashion that a damaged person like me isn't really accustomed to. Although it's kind of fucked up to just break laws and shit and kick a person out into the street. Anyway, um, May is the maybe month. May is the maybe drug month. I know I am shifting so hard right now. Um, if you ever hear drug commercials, head pill commercials, they always say it is thought or may. Whatever it is they're selling, antidepressant, mood altering head pills, it's all May. It's how ironic. May is the mental health month, and these pills that are sold to help your mental health, it may help and it may not. So, school, going back to our cost of education, uh, I guess I'm really kind of nodding toward my sister here. She had her original breakdown in college. If there are any college students out there, any young people out there, any high school students out there who feel the overbearing pressure of education meeting people's demand, how can I say this? It is true that a young mind should be driven, especially in today's society where the safe space it is kind of gotten out of hand. The whole concept of safe space, to the point where today's up and coming young adults have been coddled to the point where now something called adulting classes has to be created. Okay, you shouldn't need adulting classes. If you find that you do, then something has already gone wrong along the way. Um, However, I will say this to you. Um, the college where my sister had her breakdown, it still stands to this day. Okay? She was so pressed under pressure to perform, to stay on course, on track, graduate on time, that she ultimately had a psychological breakdown. While that institution, it's still there. That educational institution, it still stands. Don't ever allow yourself to be pressured so hard that your mind will be crushed while the school still stands. Um, it is true. You have the rest of your life. You are still young, and you will always have the ability to make money. There are all different sorts of ways of paying for an education. Even if, plan A, B, and C falls through, take a beat, take a breath. Something will avail itself. And in the interim, do what I did. Rent a room while drinking $11 a glass wine and, and shrimp parmesan And hey, like I say, I might not have had everything that I wanted, but you know, I didn't exactly live an impoverished life of a gulag, Um, hey, there are many nights when I had cheesecake and filet mignon. Not every night, but um, the point that I'm making is that don't kill yourself. I'm at 35 here. This thing might shut me off at 38. I watched a movie the other day, Risky Business, and if it's the home, the parents, that whole scenario, it has fallen greatly out of favor. It's not trendy anymore to try and do that. What the whole movie talked about was young people would kill themselves, in Rescue Business, if you ever saw the movie, to get this education to duplicate what their parents already have. And the cycle just simply repeats and repeats and repeats. Young people aren't really interested in living that stuffy life anymore. Um, Video gamers are making millions of dollars. It's a whole new world out there. And I think you guys probably already know that better than me. So maybe you don't need me to harp on that. But just remember, whatever it is you're pursuing in school, don't let it destroy you. The education will always be there, money will always be there. And your quality of life is what you yourself should always attend to first and foremost. This has gotten nice and long, and therefore that is it. All right, guys, that is May. That concludes May, our mental health awareness month. I really wanted to do more on this, but this will have to do. Take care of this. It's the only one that you've got. Total Control 871.